Hey, 17 readers. I'm Kristen Stewart. We're on the set of Twilight. The movie comes out on December 12th. For more on the movie, you can go to 17.com/Twilight.
17 years have passed since Twilight was first on the big screen. A different time period. A great time period, by the way. It was this emo goth era. The internet was just starting, before it turned into what it is today. There was something special about how all these fans got together to celebrate and support Twilight. You literally had to love it to go to the effort of getting together. Back in those days, you had to get together in person. This was the late 2000s, back when going to the cinema actually meant something. Algorithms didn't shape our taste yet. Fandoms felt real. So why does Twilight Part 1 still stand out in 2025? The very style decisions made in the first film probably allowed the acceptance of the next 4 films. The first movie, directed by Catherine Hardwicke, is often described as having a more grounded, indie film aesthetic compared to the others. The visual style was almost dreamlike, distinct blue and green color grading and this grittier cinematography, giving it a more moodier and almost voyeuristic feel. It has a much slower pacing. It's not an action piece, it's almost a hangout movie, focusing heavily on character introduction and building the romance. Hardwicke's directing style is more naturalistic, almost like a documentary. It really feels like a book coming to life. And because of the style, the audiences were able to accept the fantasy and merge themselves in Stephenie Meyer's world. It's the kind of film that lingers, not because it's got vampires or werewolves, but because it's got real tone and mood and emotional texture. But that's not enough to make a successful movie. Kristen Stewart is ultimately the driving force behind it. Twilight works because of Bella, not Edward or Jacob. Bella carries the story, and Kristen Stewart gives her life in a way that is quiet, restrained, and completely believable. At 17, she carried an entire franchise on her shoulders, doing so naturally, without theatrics, without trying to dominate the scene. She draws the audience in by letting the audience watch her and witness what she's going through, letting them witness her world through her own filter. There's this vulnerability in her performance, this willingness to let silence speak for her. She was 17 when she made this movie. There's actors twice her age that wouldn't be as brave to resist overplaying or making it a more grander performance. She's ahead of her time in her acting skill set. Jacob and Edward provide tension and drama, appearing and disappearing to move the story forward. Bella's role is far more difficult. She's the emotional core, the lens through which the audience experiences every moment. If she didn't pull it off, then the story wouldn't affect us as much as it does. Her awkwardness and subtlety is the reason the saga feels emotionally grounded. She's amazing at underplaying the performance. She doesn't seek attention. She doesn't try to find the camera. She lets the camera find her. She hides from it. She gives this introverted performance. She reacts as a teenager would. Uncertain, socially awkward, intensely observant. Every quick glance she does, you can see her questioning things going on. But she doesn't overplay it. She hides. She looks around. So she's not doing nothing. She's doing a lot. She thinks with her eyes. It gives us all we need to see. We can see very clearly her interest in Edward, and we can see clearly her lack of interest in the other guys. This quiet realism gives weight to every decision she makes. Despite how crazy everything that's going on around her, what she's doing is she's anchoring the fantasy elements with human behavior, letting all the supernatural high stakes feel more like personal high stakes, rather than which vampire or werewolf you have the hots for. In the books, Bella is introspective and awkward, but she feels pretty human. In fact, on the page, her character can feel a little bit flat. Kristen Stewart actually brings more nuance to her character. She makes her hesitant, shy, socially awkward, introverted, but not without an opinion. She asks the questions, she is curious. Bella's awkward pauses and reactions, and the way she navigates the extraordinary circumstances around her. Vampires, werewolves, impossible romance, all feel pretty real because of Kristen's grounding performance. It's the kind of acting people dismiss for lame until they try and do it themselves and they realize how difficult it is to not overact in those scenes. Her relationships define her. With Edward, there's this intense, consuming love, almost toxic, dangerous and passionate. But with Jacob, there's this warmth, loyalty, a human touch, like a best friend. What Kristen Stewart does so well is she doesn't overact her emotions. You think sometimes that she's not feeling anything. She's got these two amazing guys chasing her, and as an actor, you can play the desperately, hopelessly in love, being turned on, having sexual feelings. That's just acting 101. But Bella doesn't show anything. She's feeling plenty, but she's in constant struggle internally. And that's what you're seeing. You're seeing Bella's internal struggle. Every subtle moment matters. Every little fidget, little intake of breath, lost sentence. These are not mistakes. These are choices that she's made to reflect a character, inhabiting her own mind, reacting to an overwhelming world. Kristen protects Bella's awkwardness rather than just smoothing it away and not using it. And in doing so, this makes her universally relatable. So the idea of leaving school, or even leaving her dad behind for Edward, the impact is heightened because the audience has lived through her unsure, undecided behavior. And in fact, we kind of think she's a bit nuts. I mean, she barely knows this guy, but the young teen feelings that you can relate to, where you make stupid decisions, they sort of kick in and you can understand where she's coming from. When these big moments happen, we feel like we're inside her head. We get it, we accept the awkward posture, hesitant movements, eyes down. She draws attention to her internal. She can feel she's the new girl. People are looking at her. She puts her head down to avoid eye contact. It's relatable to everyone. When they arrive at school and Bella gets out of Edward's car, you can see the face expression. The entire teenage girl audience is brimming with pride for her. For them, Bella is them. The silent moments with Edward in the forest, the little micro expressions revealing doubt, curiosity, but this desire that's taking over. Her shyness gets overtaken with what she wants and that she wants to go deeper. The interactions with Jacob in part 1, she's the older one, so she can feel young Jacob's keen interest, the friendliness of it, the safety, the comfort. It's basically the duality between Edward and Jacob. They're like opposites. She feels very comfortable and in control with Jacob. We can all relate to these two different types. If you think about it, you personally could be that safe option, you know the type of character you are. Or you could be the dangerous, unpredictable option. Like me. Famous ladies man. These scenes work because Kristen plays Bella as someone constantly assessing, constantly feeling, even when she says nothing. The internal voice is loud, even when her physical voice isn't. Something to make note of, when Bella does become full alpha confidence in the last film, when she becomes a vampire, she no longer has that kind of nervous nuance that she had in the other films. And to be honest, she's not as interesting to watch. Obviously, her character has to change like that, and that's fine, but if you look at it from an acting point of view, it's not as interesting to watch someone who's just so confident and in control. It's a lot more interesting to watch someone who's got so much going on and they're unsure of themselves. There's so many little nuances that you get to enjoy. Her flawed or annoying human behavior is what made her compelling to watch. The things that a lot of fans would get annoyed at with her performance is her imperfections. It's what's so relatable. Having uncertainty, it's the classic teenage girl behavior. And Kristen must have understood that from the beginning, because the series relies on Bella as the point of view, emotionally and narratively. Every time Edward or Jacob appears, the audience sees them through her eyes. We see Edward as this mystery, dangerous guy because she sees him that way. If she didn't like Jacob, we wouldn't like Jacob. But her behavior helps us like Jacob. So her quiet, precise acting transforms moments that could have felt absurd, like falling in love with a vampire. She makes it believable and enjoyable and almost realistic. We forget that he's a vampire. It's just a guy and a girl. Her performance often goes unrecognized because it's quiet, understated, and introspective. Basically, it's very subtle, good acting that maybe a lot of young teen girls wouldn't understand at that age. If they watch it now and see the subtle nuance, you'll see that it's ahead of its time. Rewatch culture has become kinder to performances like this, ones that reward attention instead of demanding it. In the late 2000s, in an era where teen female protagonists were expected to be effortlessly charming, charismatic, Kristen's choice to inhabit Bella's internalized, awkward, emotional, darker portrayal felt unusual at the time, but she plays her character honestly, authentically, and it's that authenticity, the quiet, vulnerable, slow burn that lets Twilight last long past the era of the early 2000s.
I don't know. I think when I do stuff that really scares me, good things happen. I always feel like good stuff happens like really fast or really terrified. And always, it's yeah.